drunk driving destroys lives. Here is Stephen Epstein, a top New York DWI attorney.
I have been successfully defending DWI charges for over 30 years. Please do not risk you or your family's life by driving while impaired during this holiday season. I have spent my career helping those that have made this mistake, and I'm here to help you if you need me. Please call 516-745-1500. BarkheadEpstein.com.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
Lots of activity happening in Syria and elsewhere. And just a little bit ago, by the way, President Trump, in his big press conference at Mar-a-Lago, which was covered everywhere, he came out and said, I am demanding again that those hostages be returned before I take office. And John, it's just a little over a month.
He wants to follow Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that would be powerful if that happens.
35 days.
Let's pray. Well, joining us now is KT McFarland, former Deputy Assistant Secretary there at the National Security Council under President Trump. KT, your reaction, what do you think is going to happen, first of all, with the hostages? Trump, it's refreshing to see the de facto president, as we're calling him, demanding the release.
You know, we've all known him for a long time, and he's very protective of Americans. I mean, he's fiercely protective of Americans. And what he said about the hostages all along is get them home. But then what he said about a week ago, in all caps on Truth Social, which means he's screaming at you, Hamas, you better let those hostages go. If they're not out by the time I take office on January 20th, they'll be hell to pay. And I think he means it.
Yeah, I do too. And what do you think is going to happen? What is your sense from all these movements? Because in the meantime, Israel's also trying to obliterate the weapon stockpiles in Syria because of everything.
First of all, I'll tell you, the Houthi ships will disappear overnight.
Yeah, yes. Let's pray. Isn't it amazing, John, that they're still there going after places?
They just shot into Tel Aviv.
Right, exactly. I mean, a ragtag group is shooting into Tel Aviv.
Yeah, and the Houthis, you could very easily just get rid of the missile batteries where they're shooting the missiles from. That's not a problem. If you look at what Israel's done in the last couple of weeks, they've systematically destroyed Hamas. They've decapitated Hezbollah. They've now, with Syria and the collapse of the Assad government, they've gone in while everybody's in confusion, and they've destroyed the missile sites where where the Syrians would have potentially attacked Israel from. But they've also, and probably more importantly, they've taken out the Syrian air defense system. So you now have an Iran that's completely naked. Iran has a military that's not very good. They don't have a navy. They don't have much of an air force. They were relying on all the proxies and on Syria to defend them against any attack coming from Israel or from anybody. So Iran now stands alone and naked. And if Syria, it has nothing much to mount in defense of anything Israel might do. And so Israel could take the shot. They could take the shot with really no consequences. They could take the shot and destroy Iran's nuclear sites. And they are talking about it in Israel, whether they do it or not, but they have the ability to do it. And now they have nothing to really stop them from doing it.
You know, that was one thing that Trump was asked about in the briefing today also, KT. He was asked, would you encourage a preemptive strike? Would you participate? Would you encourage? And I mean, to Trump's credit, he said, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to telegraph. But it was interesting. The reporters were like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? Are you going to allow Israel?
Going to do it? I mean, what a dopey question, right?
It was.
If he is going to do it, he's not going to tell you about a preemptive attack. He's not going to tell you about it in advance. But it is
Biden
something that they're talking about.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly John's point, because Biden would have. You know, they're so used to having a president who's going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to do it on
Biden
Tuesday.
Biden would say, I'd never do that.
Oh, gosh. But anyway, I mean, the question that happens now is what's Syria going to do? And it's really up to Syria. There's not one rebel group.
I was listening to General Keane yesterday, and he says it's 9 different tribes that are in control.
Yeah, and each one has a different backer. So there's a Turkish-backed one, there's an Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah-backed one, there's even some Afghans in the middle of it. There are various varieties of Muslim groups in there, Shiites, Sunnis. And right now, today, they're kind of united, but where are they day after tomorrow? They could all start fighting each other. Because remember, they have an interim government. They haven't figured out who the new leader is going to be, and they've given themselves a couple months to get that
I think
together.
The key word in the sentence, KT, is they're not democracies and not republics. They are 9 tribes.
And John, these tribes have been fighting each other for way before Islam. I mean, these tribes have been fighting each other. Go back to the Old Testament, thousands of years.
Yes, absolutely.
KT, this is Pete King. What is going to be the status of the 900 American troops that are over there?
Well, that's what I'd like to know. I mean, we have 900 Americans in Syria. They're backing one of these groups that John just talked about. They take daily fire from who knows whom, and I have no idea what they're doing. I don't like the fact that we have Americans in the middle of a multi-sided civil war.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Real quick, Judge Weinberg.
KT, how concerned are we to be about the Turk-backed militants, those radical terrorists, moving across the country and going after Israel?
I'm not as worried. Turkey wants a new president. They want to be the king man in the Middle East, and they want Syria to be their sort of front and center example of how they're so powerful. I don't think Turkey wants to pick a fight with Israel right now. I think Turkey wants to consolidate its power in Syria and then to be the big man in the Middle East, because now that Iran is really knocked out of that place, we got to get our act together Turkey's a NATO ally. And they've been flirting with Russia. They've been flirting with Iran. They're kind of flirting with everybody. But we have to really get an understanding with Turkey. Whose side are you on this? Are we with the militants? Are you with democracy? What's your act?
Yeah.
And so I think the Biden administration has never had that conversation. President Trump will.
Yeah, and he even brought that up today, like sort of which side? It's complicated. KT, Thank you very much. We love having you on, KT. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Eden Memorial Chapels understands Jewish funerals can take many forms. Some are Orthodox, while others are more conservative or of a Reformed nature. There's no one better. With services close to all New York and New Jersey cemeteries, Eden Memorial Chapels offer fair and balanced pricing and can provide easy transfer of you and your loved ones to Israel. While you're grieving, they're here to take care of all the details so that you deal with less bureaucracy and have more peace of mind. Go to EdenMemorial.com. That's EdenMemorial.com.
I've been matchmaking all my life. I introduced my best friend and his wife. I introduced my program director, Kevin Drosch, to Inhala. And now I'm going to match you with Inhala. Yes, you two should sleep together. Skip the sleep center. Avoid the CPAP machine. Get in bed with Inhala. It's a custom-fit oral appliance. There's no bulky hoses or uncomfortable mask. Inhala works with your private medical insurance and makes the process seamless. I talked to the people at Inhala.com, and they're going to help you just like they helped out Kevin and his fiancée. She'll finally be able to sleep through the night while Kevin is using Inhala. Follow Kevin's sleep journey right here on 77 WABC. Now is the time for a treatment that is right for you. Visit Inhala.com or call 844-INHALA-1. That's 844-INHALA-1. So like my program director, Kevin, skip the sleep center, avoid the CPAP machine, get in bed with Inhala. Inhala.com, INHALA.com.